You clean out your closet in a burst of minimalist adrenaline. Donation bags on the floor, empty hangers clacking together, shelves finally visible for the first time since, 2022? You feel lighter, smarter, like a person who now drinks lemon water on purpose, for about 3 weeks. Then June hits, and you realize you donated the only shorts that didn't betray you when you sat down. October rolls in, the temperature drops, and the jacket you wore every fall, the one with the loose zipper and the weirdly perfect pockets, is gone. Then January shows up, wind in your face, salt on the sidewalk. You're in Target buying gloves and a beanie that looks suspiciously like the gloves and beanie you got rid of in some decluttering frenzy back in August. At that point, you do not feel minimalist. You feel conned.
I did this. I donated boots in August, bought boots in November, and the new pair gave me blisters by Tuesday.
That's not decluttering. That's a hostile breakup with your own shoes.
And this is where people think they're bad at minimalism.
Right. Most of the time, they're not bad at minimalism. They just took advice from somebody with a wildly different life. No kids, no snow, remote job, no commute, no softball gear in the trunk, no muddy dog, no chaos. Just one beige mug and the confidence of a person who has never had to find a winter scarf at 7:10 a.m.
Before we dive in, subscribe to my channel, Beth Builds Wealth. If you're done donating money to Target, Amazon, and one weird emotional spiral every Thursday, and join a community learning how to spend with more intention and build real wealth, subscribe. And thank you. Okay, rule number 1. If you haven't used it in 6 months, get rid of it. Sounds clean. Sounds bold. Sounds like something printed on a white wall in a YouTube thumbnail. It also sounds like a great way to buy winter boots twice. Because this rule ignores reality. Seasonal stuff, formal clothes, camping gear, emergency supplies, tools, backup chargers, baby gear in storage, maternity clothes, the suit you wear to weddings and funerals, and absolutely nowhere else. You don't use a winter coat in July. That does not make it clutter. That makes it July. You don't use jumper cables every week. Good. That's the ideal outcome.
So, me not wearing my funeral suit lately is positive?
Incredible news, yes. Let's keep the streak alive.
Here's the better move. Stop using random time windows like they mean something. Look at the job the item does. Ask, when would I need this? Is that situation real or just possible in some vague movie trailer way? If I got rid of it, would replacing it be cheap or weirdly annoying? That's the test. Not, have I touched this in 6 months? More like, does this still make sense in the life I'm living? And once you notice one popular rule is flimsy, the next one starts wobbling too. Because the internet's obsession with made-up numbers, that's where this whole thing gets ridiculous. Rule number 2. Your wardrobe should have exactly 33 items. Or 25. Or 17. Or whatever number fits neatly into a thumbnail next to a sad oatmeal-colored cardigan. These numbers get treated like they arrived on stone tablets from Mount Influencer. They didn't. Somebody picked a number that worked for them. Then the internet started acting like the number had legal authority. A 33-piece wardrobe might work if you live somewhere warm, work from home, never get caught in freezing rain, and spend Saturday mornings drinking iced matcha in linen pants that cost too much. But if you live somewhere with 4 real seasons, and I mean real seasons, not slightly cooler now, those numbers collapse fast. Same if you commute. Same if you work out. Same if you go to weddings. Same if you have kids. Same if your life requires more than 2 pairs of shoes and blind faith. Then people feel guilty because their real life refuses to fit inside somebody else's little minimalist math stunt. Here's the better move. Build a wardrobe that is easy to wear, comfortable, good for your actual schedule, good for your climate, good for your body, right now, not 5 years ago. If that ends up being 35 pieces, fine. If it's 58, also fine. If it's more because your week includes work clothes, gym clothes, weather swings, and a child who somehow spills yogurt on you at the exact wrong time, also fine. The goal is not to win the tiny closet Olympics. The goal is to know what you own and use it well. And since we're here, the one in, one out rule? Good check, bad religion. Sometimes you need more towels. Sometimes a new job means more work clothes. Sometimes you pick up pickleball or pottery or cycling and, surprise, those hobbies come with stuff. Not every purchase needs to be balanced by sacrificing a cardigan like you're leaving an offering at the altar of minimalism. But clothing rules are just the warm-up. Things get even dumber when minimalist advice starts pretending that experiences are pure and objects are corrupt. You might be thinking, fine, I'll just buy experiences instead of stuff. That sounds smart. Right up until you think about it for 6 seconds. Rule number 3. Buy experiences, not things. Cute sentence, very shareable. Falls apart on contact with ordinary life. Because plenty of things are what create the experience. A bike gives you bike rides. A tent gives you camping trips. A guitar gives you music. A decent chef's knife means dinner doesn't feel like a knife fight with a tomato. Books, art supplies, running shoes, a kayak, a camera. Yes, they are objects. They also open doors.
A kayak is a thing. It's also 6 summers of sunrise paddles and sore shoulders.
A couch is a thing. It's also where I answer my calling, which is eating popcorn and watching documentaries about fraud.
Exactly. So the real question is not thing or experience. That's a fake argument. A better question, what does this add to my life over time? Will I use it? Will I enjoy it more than once? Does it make a part of my life easier, richer, calmer, less annoying? And since we're already stepping on toes, let's talk about keep only what sparks joy. Great rule for clothes, great for books, great for art, great for decor. Terrible rule for plungers. Your tax folder should not have to sparkle. Your first aid kit is not here to charm you. Your snow shovel does not need a character arc. Some things stay because they're useful. Some stay because they solve ugly problems. Some stay because when you need them immediately, not after a trip to the hardware store in freezing rain. That's the pattern. The internet takes decent ideas, then tightens them until they snap. And nowhere does that backfire harder than the giant weekend purge. Because some of the worst minimalist mistakes happen when people get inspired, grab a trash bag, and lose all common sense by noon. Rule number 4. Declutter everything in one giant weekend purge. Looks fantastic in a montage. Feels incredible for maybe 4 hours. Creates regret with the speed of a kitchen fire. Once people get into purge mode, they stop making careful calls. They start making sacrifices. Useful stuff? Gone. Seasonal stuff? Gone. Sentimental stuff? Gone. Randomly useful cable you'll need in 2 months? Absolutely gone. Why? Because the momentum feels like progress. You fill 3 donation bags and suddenly you think you're having a breakthrough, when really you're just getting reckless. Then, 8 weeks later, you're buying the same stuff again, only now it's flimsier, pricier, and comes in a sadder shade of gray. And then there's the aesthetic trap. People think minimalism means white walls, white sofa, 1 beige throw, 1 tiny side table, and a plant that looks like it judges your spending. That is not minimalism. That is one look, a look that photographs well. It's also a nightmare for a lot of actual households. Kids exist, pets exist, spaghetti sauce exists, craft supplies exist, life exists. You are allowed to own color. You are allowed to own pattern. You are allowed to live in a home that doesn't look like a Scandinavian witness protection program. Here's the better move. Declutter in small rounds. 1 drawer, 1 shelf, 1 bin in the hall closet with the old sunscreen and the dead flashlight. Slow enough to think, short enough that you'll do it again next week, and split these 2 ideas apart: how much you own and how your place looks. You can own less and still have a home with color, texture, personality, and a blanket that isn't beige. Minimalism is not an all-white hostage situation, but the weirdest flex of all might be this next one. The idea that if you're doing minimalism right, you should be able to move your whole life with a backpack and 2 emotionally unavailable mugs. Before you throw out your frying pan in the name of internet purity, you need to hear the rule underneath all of this, the one that breaks the whole thing. So if minimalism has ever made you feel like you were failing, good. Not because failing is fun, it isn't. It's annoying. Expensive, too. Good because it probably means the system was off, not you. You were following rules built for somebody else's life.
That's the split right there. Real minimalism should make life lighter, not colder, not stingier, not more expensive to repair 6 months later.
Yeah, because if your version of minimalism ends with regret, rebuying, and panic every time the weather changes, that's not clarity. That's clutter with better PR.
Minimalism should not turn your closet into a trust fall.
Right. The goal is not to own the fewest things. The goal is to own the right things for the life you've got. Enough to function. Enough to feel calm. Enough to support the week you really live. Not the fantasy version of you who hikes every Sunday, bakes sourdough on Tuesdays, and owns 1 shirt in 3 shades of oatmeal. So if this video made you realize a lot of minimalist advice online is way too rigid, go back and watch video 1. That's the one where I break down why owning less can make you financially stronger. How clutter, upgrades, and lifestyle creep drain your money quietly month after month, like a tiny leak under the sink you keep pretending not to hear. So if this video showed you what doesn't work, video 1 shows you what does. And after that, go watch the video on this channel about impulse spending, because a huge chunk of this mess, minimalism, clutter, lifestyle creep, bad purchases, the mystery bin in your hallway full of unopened Amazon mailers, starts the same way. You bought too fast, for the wrong reason, in the wrong mood. Fix that, and you stop a lot of the clutter before it ever crosses your front door.
Which is great, because the cheapest clutter is the clutter you never dragged home in the first place.
Exactly. So if you want more videos like this about minimalism, money, impulse spending, financial habits, and building a life that feels better instead of just looking better on the internet, subscribe. This channel is not about guilt, not about perfection, and definitely not about pretending you need to live in a white cube with 1 fork and no personality. It's about thinking clearly, buying with your eyes open, keeping what helps, dropping what doesn't, and building a life with more room in it. Room in your home, room in your budget, room in your head. So subscribe. Go watch part 1, then watch the impulse spending video. And sincerely, thank you again for subscribing. I really appreciate your support on this channel.